If I give you $1 trillion, it is worth your time. The idea here is not, is it worth my time? It's that you have to fix the price so that it is worth your time. Let people be wild. Let them be a little spicy. If they want to pay you more money, you should give them the opportunity to do so.
$1 trillion. Bart, my spicy meter just hit the red zone. I'm pretty sure if I asked my last freelance client for $1 trillion, the only thing they'd give me is a one-way ticket to a psych ward. But hey, I guess that's why we're here.
All right, today we're looking at a heavy hitter. The video is titled, If I Started a Business in 2026, I'd Do This, by none other than Alex Hormozi.
Hormozi is everywhere right now. He's basically the final boss of business YouTube right now. He's the guy who went from sleeping on a gym floor in 2016 to breaking a Guinness World Record for the fastest-selling nonfiction book and making $16 million in a single weekend.
This clip is trending because he's basically telling people to stop playing in the middle. He claims the middle is where people die, and that you should either sell things that are incredibly cheap or, his favorite, extremely expensive stuff to a select few.
He's basically pitching a start high, work your way down model, using Tesla as the ultimate example of starting with a high-priced beta test before going mass market. Okay, I'll start. I'm confused. Usually these guys tell you to build an app or a course so you can sleep while you make money. Hormozi is over here telling me to sell my time one-on-one, which he admits is unscalable.
It's wild, right? It sounds like he's telling us to go back to being employees, but for ourselves. But then he says that everyone has an hourly rate, even Warren Buffett. And my brain just kind of short-circuited.
I like the transparency about the math, though. When he said a $15,000 sale is the same as $350 sales, it actually made the high-ticket thing feel less like a scam and more like a time saver.
Hustle Happy Hour!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Hustle Happy Hour. This is the podcast where two friends sit down, grab a drink, and react to videos from the internet's favorite entrepreneurship gurus.
We're not here to hate, and we're definitely not here to worship. We break down what actually makes sense, what's overhyped, and what might get you into trouble if you follow it blindly.
If you've ever watched a guru and thought, wait, is that really true? You're in the right place.
So pour a drink, pull up a seat, and let's get into today's hustle.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into what might be the most counterintuitive yet consistently successful blueprint for building a resilient business foundation. We're talking about leveraging extreme pricing. And I mean, we're not talking about small increments here.
No, not at all.
We're talking about adding zeros.
Yeah.
Our whole mission today is to really understand the economic and psychological landscape of starting a business by focusing on generating maximum cash flow right out of the gate.
That's exactly right. I think for the listener who's, maybe bootstrapping, for the learner who really needs to accelerate growth without needing massive external funding, our goal here is to give you a shortcut.
A real shortcut.
Yeah, framework. We're distilling the absolute key principles that shift the fundamental economics in your favor. And when we talk economics, we're immediately zooming in on that balance between customer acquisition costs.
Or Hearst CAC, what it costs you to get a new buyer.
Right, versus the customer lifetime value, what that buyer is ultimately worth to you over time.
That CAC versus CLV equation is, it's the true north of business survival, isn't it?
It is everything.
And the expert we're synthesizing today lays out this really dramatic initial warning that serves as our starting rule. It's almost a philosophical mandate for any new venture.
It really is.
It's basically,
Yeah.
Forget about aiming for that comfortable mass market mediocrity. You absolutely must choose an extreme.
You have to choose the high end or the low end. It's a dichotomy. You either sell extremely expensive stuff to a select, the bespoke high-touch model,
Right.
or you sell super cheap stuff to everyone, the massive volume scale model. Think Walmart.
And here's the brutal part of the advice, the part that I think really stops people in their tracks. The expert is absolutely clear that the middle ground, that marginally better product, priced just slightly above average, that is where, and this is a quote, people die.
It's a competitive graveyard.
A graveyard. That middle price point is where you're constantly struggling with margins, you lack the scale for true efficiency, and you don't have that premium cachet to justify the price.
You're completely stuck. You are fighting on everyone else's terms.
Why is it so competitive there? Is it just because it feels safe?
It's highly competitive because everyone thinks they can start there. It feels like the path of least resistance. But without massive capital or, some genuinely unique patented technology, you simply cannot compete in the middle.
So you have to start at one of the poles.
You have to. That's the only way to gain the necessary leverage to get off the ground.
Okay, so if the middle is death
Mm,
and you're starting lean, I mean, maybe you don't have a giant line of credit or VC backing.
which is most people.
Right, most people. The logic then dictates you have to start at the top end. And that immediately forces us to confront what a business actually is, which at its core is really just about economic arbitrage.
It is. I mean, a business is nothing more than the efficient allocation of your limited resources, your time, your capital, your energy.
All the stuff you don't have enough of.
Exactly. And you're trying to achieve a superior or like a disproportionate throughput on the other side. The goal is positive cash flow, but not just cash flow. It has to be fast cash flow.
Fast cash flow, that's the key.
Yeah. When you are a startup, you can't afford inefficiencies. And you certainly can't afford a 6-year runway before you break even. That's a luxury you don't have.
So the primary non-negotiable goal for any founder, especially if they're bootstrapping, has to be generating enough capital, enough internal cash flow, and doing it rapidly.
So that you can eventually serve the masses. That cash is the oxygen that lets you survive the very difficult path to scalability and refinement.
It's almost like a proof of concept that's financed entirely by your customers.
That's a great way to put it. It's not financed by debt or desperate equity sales. This cash velocity allows you to self-fund your next iteration, accelerate your growth, and this part is so key, it proves people will exchange significant value for what you offer.
Which is the most powerful signal you can get in the market.
The only signal that matters.
And the single best example of this in the last, 2 decades, a company that took this advice to heart is the Tesla playbook.
Oh, absolutely.
They didn't just stumble into success. They followed this very deliberate start high, work down strategy.
It's the classic example of leveraging premium pricing for what is essentially R&D. They did not start with the Model 3, which is their mass market affordable vehicle.
No way. They started with the Roadster, the
Yeah.
$250,000 sports car.
The $250,000 Roadster. And this is where the source material provides such essential context. The Roadster wasn't just expensive. Functionally, it was a beta test car.
Right. Wasn't perfect.
Not even close. It wasn't completely refined. It was sold to a very specific niche early adopters, wealthy tech enthusiasts who were willing to tolerate the quirks of what was basically a prototype.
Because they bought into the vision.
They bought into the vision of the future, and that's a crucial distinction. They weren't optimizing for perfection or for scale at the beginning. They were optimizing for maximum learning and maximum margin.
So those sales from those few highly profitable Roadsters gave them 2 things.
Yep. First, the capital to actually build out manufacturing and R&D. And second, and this is maybe even more important, they got real-world data and proof of concept.
They learned what broke.
They learned what broke, what features were essential, and how a wealthy, discerning customer actually uses the vehicle day to day. You can't get that from a focus group.
And that data, that cash flow, allowed them to move to the Model S. Still very high-end luxury, but more refined, appealing to a slightly wider demographic. And only after years of perfecting that mid-luxury offering did they have the brand recognition, the manufacturing know-how, and the capital velocity to work their way down to the mass market Model 3.
Most entrepreneurs try to do that in reverse. They think they need to build the perfect, cheapest thing for everyone right from day one.
Yeah.
But the Tesla example proves that if you start high, the cash flow from that initial high-margin tier, it gives you the runway and the experience to iterate your way down to true scale. You literally generate your own investment capital. Okay, that makes perfect sense. But let's be real, we're not all building electric car companies, which are, inherently complex and capital intensive.
Sure.
For the average starter, the person who has a service, a consultancy, an info product, what is the absolute quickest way to create that expensive offer?
It's selling your time one-on-one. And yes, we know everyone immediately says, but it's unscalable. And they're right in the long term. But for the initial stage, for that immediate cash generation and for rapid market testing, it is absolutely critical.
And the anecdote in the source material about the personal training business, It just perfectly illustrates the immediate financial power of this one-on-one cash flow. Can you walk us through that again?
Yeah.
The numbers are they're stunning.
Yeah, they are. So the founder had a group training gym, which is a scalable model, right?
Right.
But he took on a single specific client for intensive personal training.
Okay.
We're talking 90-minute sessions, 5 days a week, because this person had specific mobility needs. It was a huge time commitment for just one person. A massive commitment. But then you look at the arbitrage.
Exactly. If those 90-minute sessions were charged at a premium rate, let's say $125 an hour, that's about $187 per session.
Okay, so 187 times 5 days a week.
Then you multiply that across a month. The founder recalled receiving close to $45,000 a month in cash
From one client.
from one single client.
That is just staggering.
It is. But the true genius of the strategy lies in how that cash was allocated. That $45,000 that paid for the founder's personal living expenses, covered the mortgage, the bills, everything.
Which means the money generated by the scalable part of the business, the group classes, the semi-private sections, all of that could then be kept and reinvested entirely back into growing the business faster.
100%. The founder avoided having to take a substantial salary draw from the growth revenue. They didn't need outside funding just to cover the basic cost of living. That right there is capital velocity.
It's the difference between having a business that has to support your life immediately, which forces you to make compromises, and having your life supported by the high-ticket work, which lets the main business revenue act as like this aggressive self-funding engine.
It lets the business go on offense immediately, and it can sustain that growth without any outside pressure. It's a game changer.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate for a second here, because the general advice you always hear is, don't sell time, it's a trap, it caps your earnings.
The classic advice.
We've established the cash flow benefit, which is huge, but a lot of new founders, they fear they're just building a prison for themselves. What are the other sort of non-obvious massive benefits that make this unscalable model superior for starting out?
That fear of the prison, it's valid, but it's a long-term problem. In the short term, this model provides these critical advantages that a scalable model simply cannot deliver on day one.
Okay, so what's the first one?
The first, and maybe the most valuable, is just accelerated learning and a fundamental shifting of your own beliefs about what's possible, about value.
How so?
You learn exponentially more from a few high-value clients than from hundreds of low-value ones.
Why is that?
Because they're paying top dollar. They are inherently more invested, they're more discerning, and because of that, they provide superior feedback. They're essentially partners who will push you to deliver absolute excellence, and they will pinpoint flaws in your offering or your delivery immediately.
The feedback loop is intense.
It's intense and it's rapid. You don't have to wait for survey data from 1,000 customers. You get a direct phone call.
And it's that engagement with higher caliber people that shifts the entrepreneur's internal belief set. You mentioned earlier, struggling to sell a $50 membership.
Right.
You contrast that with watching a high-ticket client just casually write a check for $15,000.
The contrast is shocking. It changes you. If you do the math, that one $15,000 check is equivalent to selling 300 of those $50 memberships.
Wow.
Imagine the immense marketing effort, the customer service staff you'd need, the churn rate management, the sheer volume of transactions, just to match that single $15,000 check.
It's a different universe.
It is. And when that high-value transaction happens, your perception of what is possible and what people actually value, it instantly recalibrates. It expands your internal sense of self-worth and the value of your own expertise.
Which brings us directly to debunking that dangerous limiting belief. The whole selling time is for poor people myth.
Oh, I hear that all the time.
It's a huge psychological hurdle.
Yeah.
We need to be really clear here. Every single person on Earth earns money that's related to time, even if it's not a visible hourly wage.
It's an inconvenient truth, isn't it? The simple math everyone should run on themselves is just a little reality check. Take your annual income, whatever it is, and divide it by 2,000.
2,000, because that's roughly 40 hours a week for 50 working weeks.
Exactly. That calculation gives you your true, fully loaded hourly rate. Even if you're project-based or salaried, every single dollar you earn has a time cost attached to it.
People always try to use the investor example to disprove this, right? They say, oh, Warren Buffett just writes a check. He doesn't trade time for money.
But they're completely forgetting the context. They ignore the massive time investment required to become Warren Buffett.
Right.
We're not talking about the 5 seconds it takes to sign the check. We are considering the thousands of hours of intensive macro market analysis, the research on hundreds of potential deals, the due diligence on all the companies he said no to.
And the decades of experience that led to the knowledge that allowed him to make that one decision.
All of that accumulated time is what is being compensated in that one moment.
Hmm.
The money is the return on time already spent.
So the proof point remains. You live and you earn in time. Everyone has an hourly rate. And the undeniable calculation is that as long as the thing you sell your hourly rate for is significantly more than your current calculated rate, you will make more money faster, period.
Absolutely. Which brings us to benefit number 3. Starting one-on-one grants you flexibility and a capacity for rapid iteration that scaled businesses can only dream of.
Right, maneuverability.
When you're operating on a small, high-value scale, you have significantly more of it. Because you only have a few clients, you can literally change the entire service delivery model overnight.
That's a great point.
You can make these quick iterations, you can pivot the curriculum, you can change the tools you're using without immense operational friction. You don't have to change a complex CRM system or retrain a large team or spend weeks recoding a scalable solution.
It's an incredibly efficient, high-fidelity beta test environment.
And your clients are so close to you that they're invested in the success of that iteration. They're part of the process.
And finally, we get to the core economic advantage. One-on-one maximizes your margin and leverages supply and demand.
This is the big one.
If you trade your time for money, the source claims you have a 100% margin. Now let's pause here because this is a provocative definition. The expert argues that your actual hourly rate, your necessary cost of goods sold, is only the money for the food that keeps you alive. Everything else is pure profit. I have to push back a little. Isn't that ignoring, operational overhead, rent, insurance, taxes?
It is. It's ignoring those things intentionally to make a philosophical point about the margin on your personal labor. Yes, in a real spreadsheet, of course you have overhead. But for a service provider selling their time, the moment that money clears, you have 100% of it in your hand before you allocate it to overhead.
Unlike a physical product.
Exactly. Unlike selling a physical widget where you have a tangible COGS, the materials, the packaging, the shipping, your personal labor's COGS is, let's say, metaphysically negligible.
I see. So it's a psychological tool. It's to prevent the founder from underpricing their time based on these perceived material costs. If I sell a widget for $100 and it costs me $40 to make, my margin is 60%.
Right.
But if I sell an hour of consulting for $100 and I'm already alive and my lights are on, that $100 is pure incremental cash flow immediately.
Precisely. And that leads directly to leveraging the supply and demand curve. This is the most powerful concept in business. The reason one-on-one is so powerful is that the supply, your personal time, is contracted. It's fixed. It is exceptionally small.
You've only got so many hours in a year, about 2,000 work hours.
Right. And when you intentionally cut supply amidst existing demand, which naturally happens when you get good at what you do, it forces you to raise the price.
Until the price justifies the incredibly restricted supply.
The restriction itself becomes the leverage point for your pricing.
And this is transferable to pretty much any business.
Any business. You don't have to be a consultant. The lawn care business example in the source works perfectly. You just create a super premium version.
So instead of just mow the lawn, it's something more.
Yeah. Who is physically designing the garden and selecting the plants? Is it the junior staff? Or is it the highly sought-after founder? Who gets the founder's personal cell phone number for immediate, guaranteed priority response?
It's about creating a tier where the supply is fixed and precious. The founder's personal involvement, their attention, their expertise.
And you attach a price to it that removes any scarcity mindset from the founder. You are forced to charge what it's truly worth to justify pulling yourself away from the scalable work. So once you've established that expensive, high-leverage tier, even if you keep the supply tiny, it doesn't just generate cash flow. It works like this powerful anchor that lifts the perceived value of your entire brand.
It creates a halo effect.
A total halo effect. Charging an absurd price, the source uses $10,000 an hour as an example.
Which sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy. But putting that out there for the unscalable tier, it sets a psychological ceiling for the customer. Even if they can't afford it, the association sticks. If the top tier is worth $10,000, then the $100 main product must be an incredible value.
And it gives you a fantastic, authentic narrative to use in your marketing.
Oh, the best. You can confidently and honestly state, many people can't afford to work with me one-on-one at the $10,000 level, and that's perfectly fine.
So I've taken the most critical, high-impact lessons and systems from those private engagements, and I've distilled them into this scalable format for everyone.
That narrative transfer is marketing gold. It instantly imbues the cheaper product with the authority and the high-value association of the premium product.
The customer isn't just buying a course. They feel like they're buying the distilled knowledge of a $10,000 client experience.
Exactly. Even if that $10,000 tier is rarely sold, it serves its purpose as the anchor. The customer just assumes that the immense value associated with that price tag is being delivered, to some degree, in the lesser product they're about to purchase.
So the action step here is non-negotiable. The entrepreneur must list the high price. You have to verbally state the price when you're making the offer.
You can't be discreet about the anchor. It has to be confronted head-on.
So you have to allow the prospect to make a full consideration of the decision.
You do. You have to look them in the eye or write it very clearly and say, would you like to work with me one-on-one? It is $10,000 an hour, and that is the highest likelihood thing I can do to help you achieve your goals.
And then comes the legendary sales tactic that follows, the one that makes everyone so uncomfortable but is so vital.
Yes.
Once you state that high price, you shut up.
You say nothing. You let them be the next person to speak. Because, as the expert suggests, that silence gives them the space to process the true value, and that silence might just result in them saying yes.
And if they do say no, if they balk at the price,
the high-ticket offer has already served its purpose. This is where the downsell strategy comes into play. You simply pull out the most valuable yet unscalable components, like your direct access or that guaranteed priority.
and you offer a lesser thing that has 90% of the elements, but is significantly more scalable for you, the founder.
And they feel grateful that you offered an alternative. Because the anchor price was so high, the scalable product now feels like an absolute bargain. You get a sale that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Okay, let's dive into the math, because this proves why the anchor price is strategically necessary, even if you only sell it in tiny, tiny volumes.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Let's imagine a typical scenario over a month. You have 100 total buyers for your entire product ecosystem. You've got a scalable $100 item and a high-ticket $1,000 item.
Okay. And let's assume only 10% of those 100 people buy the expensive thing. So you have 90 people buying the $100 item and just 10 buying the $1,000 item.
Right. So let's look at the profit. For your scalable $100 item, let's be generous and say you have a standard 40% margin after all your software and marketing costs.
That's $40 profit times 90 people, which gets you $3,600 in profit from the mass market. Respectable, but it's low velocity.
Okay, now for the $30 high-ticket item, since it's unscalable one-on-one time and we're sticking to the expert's definition of pure labor margin.
We count it as a 100% margin, so that's $1,000 profit times 10 people.
Which is $10,000 in profit.
From just those 10 people.
Wait, okay, let's just sit with that for a moment. Just the top 10% of your buyers, a tiny fraction generated $10,000 in profit. The other 90 people generated $3,600. So the top 10% of buyers generated nearly 3 times the profit of the other 90 people combined.
And that cash is significantly cleaner. All of that incremental revenue from the high tier, that $10,000, is 100% margin cash flow. It goes directly to paying down debt, funding R&D, or covering your personal expenses. It just accelerates everything.
That is the profound hidden math of this whole strategy. People focus entirely on the mass market sales, the 90 people, because they see the volume.
They do. They get obsessed with customer count.
And they completely miss the disproportionate impact of that tiny, high-margin revenue stream.
The conclusion is undeniable. You need the expensive thing because even in tiny volumes, lots of zeros still add up. And they add up faster, cleaner, and with way less transactional overhead than their smaller revenue streams.
The recommendation is so strong then. Even if you have a great scalable offering,
you need to have something that's $1,000 a month or $10,000 one time, and you have to make sure it is actively available to people.
Okay, so it's easy enough to say, just charge 10 times more. It's a lot harder to actually justify that price point, both to the customer and, frankly, to yourself.
That's the real barrier, isn't it? Your own mindset.
To help us design these high-ticket offers, the source provides 3 distinct mindset shifts or frameworks. They're designed to force you to think about value creation outside of your current cost structure.
Right, to break out of that thinking. We'll start with frame number 1, the 10x, 100x inclusion test.
Okay.
This is a thought experiment designed explicitly to break those internal limiting beliefs about what you're capable of offering or what you're willing to offer.
And the question is posed. If someone came to you and gave you $100,000 for your current $1,000 service, what would you include?
And you write down everything. Don't hold back. Guaranteed 24/7 access, monthly private jets, daily personalized reports. Just go crazy.
And the genuine surprise for most founders when they do this exercise is seeing how many of those crazy ideas don't actually cost significant material money.
So much of it. A lot of added value is purely based on time, on access, on a personalized experience, or just guaranteeing immediate responsiveness.
Right.
These are components that are super high value, but have a very low hard cost.
But founders are so reluctant to offer that time or access. They fear it's unscalable or that they're, giving away their only valuable asset for free.
This test forces you to monetize your availability correctly.
So what's the practical step after the brainstorming?
You go down your list. Cross out the items that have genuine, significant hard costs, the things that require massive material investment, like buying a new piece of equipment or, a jet.
Right, get rid of the jet.
Yeah, probably cross out the jet. Then you look at what remains, the personalized attention, the daily check-ins, the dedicated support line.
And then you ask yourself, would I be okay doing what's left for $1,000? Or for $10,000? And if the answer is yes, you've just created a 10x offer for minimal additional overhead, but massive perceived value.
You just needed permission or the 100x price tag to unlock that mindset.
Okay, what's frame 2?
Frame number 2 is the word of mouth requirement. This shifts the focus entirely onto the customer experience as the engine of perpetual growth. It demands radical value delivery.
So you design your product or service so that its existence and its success hinges entirely on the current customer telling their friends about it.
Yes. If they don't refer you enthusiastically, your business stops. That's the rule you design around.
That's a high bar.
It creates a hyper-focus on the offer components and the service delivery necessary to guarantee that level of enthusiastic referral. If your clients are not absolutely stunned by the value and the attention, you have failed.
This framework demands you put in the time, the speed, and the personalized effort necessary to justify the high price and to generate that organic growth.
And the source guarantees that if you design the offer with this mindset, even if you're scared to death to sell it, an amount greater than zero will say yes.
I like that. Okay, what about the third frame?
The third frame is a totally different intellectual approach, eliminating the unscalable for value. This is a test of pure ingenuity. It forces you to find non-time-based value.
The question is tough. If we had to take everything out of the existing offer that is unscalable, meaning the one-on-one time, the personal access,
All of that.
but we still had to make it worth 10 times as much, how would we do it?
This is a really challenging attack vector because it forces the founder to identify where the 10x value lies if it isn't in their personal bandwidth.
So what could it be? Proprietary data.
Maybe. Or is it in a uniquely developed proprietary system or software access that automates results? Is it in a highly curated, private community with incredible network effects?
This often leads founders to systematize the results of their one-on-one labor.
Exactly. You end up creating the scalable solution that delivers equivalent results to one-on-one attention, but at a mass market cost, which you can then sell to the high-ticket client for massive margins because you're leveraging your intellectual property, not your time.
And finally, let's talk about the marketing and the personal worldview shift that comes from maintaining these premium clients.
The benefits extend so far beyond the balance sheet.
For marketing, it's instant built-in authority. You don't have to brag. You just weave phrases into your communication like, one of my private clients achieved X after applying this exact principle.
These high-ticket engagements, they yield the best case studies, the most advanced learnings. They provide a continuous stream of high-quality marketing material for your lower-tier products.
And at a personal growth level.
The expert is wonderfully honest about this. High-ticket clients are just way cooler.
I love that.
They're the highest caliber people dealing with the highest level problems, and they often become friends and mentors. You spend quality time immersed in their level of thinking and problem solving, which naturally shifts your worldview and your ambition in the correct upward direction. It raises your own intellectual ceiling.
Building a $10,000 offer isn't just about what you include in it. It's about who you're selling it to and how you communicate the value.
That's right.
This brings us to the tactical deconstruction of value, starting with the critical step of picking the right customer for this premium tier.
Step 1 is pick the right avatar. And this is a huge trap for new entrepreneurs. You have to understand that the person buying your $100 product is not the person you should be trying to sell the unscalable, expensive thing to.
They're different people.
Fundamentally different people. They have different pain tolerances and different capital allocation models.
So the premium avatar has to tick 3 specific boxes.
Yep. They must have the money, meaning the price point is not a hardship for them. They must feel the pain acutely to the point where they view the price as a necessary relief. And crucially, they must be easy to reach.
Easy to reach.
You need a highly specific profile for this top tier, and you'll often find them in smaller, more exclusive channels.
Okay, so once you have the avatar, step 2 is foundational to persuasion. Describe their pain better than they can.
This is so powerful. If you can articulate someone's problem better than they can articulate it themselves, they will instinctively, almost automatically believe you have the solution.
It's a cognitive shortcut for trust.
It is. And this is where the source offers a fantastic, practical, low-tech, but super high-impact big hack for finding this specific, resonant language.
Right, don't just guess their pain points.
Don't guess. Steal them. Go into the reviews of books people are buying in your niche. Not your competition's books, but adjacent reading material that defines the problem space. And you extract the exact quotes where they describe their current frustrations, their fears, and their pain points. Then you use that exact emotional, specific language in your own marketing copy.
Why does that hack work so well?
Because you're not speaking in vague business platitudes anymore. You are literally reflecting their internal monologue back at them. You are proving that you live inside their head and that you understand their suffering on a detailed personal level.
The principle here is absolute then. Pain and persuasion only exist in the specific, never in the vague.
Never. A good, accurate, and deeply resonant description of their current pain is often a stronger motivator for immediate action than promising some huge, distant outcome. They just want the current headache gone now.
Ultimately, clients don't buy your time or your PDF or your system. They're buying an outcome.
Yes.
The unscalable one-on-one approach is simply the highest certainty vehicle that transports them to that outcome.
That's the key differentiator for charging 10 times more. It's the concept of perceived likelihood of achievement, or PLA. This likelihood dramatically increases when the method is one-on-one because the client knows you have skin in the game. They know you are personally committed to their success.
Let's use the weight loss example from the source to illustrate PLA.
It's perfect. If you offer a meal plan as a $10 PDF, the desired outcome, losing weight, is the same as if you offer daily one-on-one calls, personalized coaching, and a private chef for $5,000 a month.
The raw information might be similar, but the perceived likelihood of actually achieving that outcome.
And the perceived ease of the journey.
Right. It's exponentially higher with the one-on-one vehicle.
The one-on-one model acts as an implied guarantee because of your reputation and competence. If the client believes you're competent, and if they sense that you have a strong, non-diluted intention to help them succeed, their willingness to pay any price increases dramatically.
Because the completeness of your attention in a one-on-one setting removes their fear of failure.
Exactly. And this is why the unscalable approach is so successful at the start. It allows the founder to live off that high certainty income and use the other, less certain revenue streams to go aggressive on offense. They can cash flow the growth of the scalable product without the paralyzing fear of not being able to make rent this month. So, if we had to pick one single thing to maximize persuasion in the premium market, one ultimate lever, the source is absolutely adamant. It is speed.
Speed?
Or the inverse, decreasing latency.
Latency, or the delay between taking an action and seeing a result, is a silent killer of value. And the principle laid out here is one of the most powerful insights in the material.
It's my favorite quote from the whole thing.
Which is, latency beats magnitude 7 days a week and twice on Sunday.
I just love that. It means that how fast you can ensure the outcome happens is significantly more motivating than the sheer size of the promised outcome.
Why is that?
Because you are selling to the wealthy.
That's the critical difference. You are not going to sell someone wealthy on how much money you will save them.
No.
You sell them on how much time you will save them. Their clock just ticks differently. For the wealthy or the highly successful, their time has become significantly more valuable than their money.
Every hour they save is an hour they can allocate to earning more or enjoying life. The opportunity cost of slowness is immense to them.
Think about it this way. If a CEO's time is worth $5,000 an hour, and you can save them 10 hours of research on something,
You haven't just saved them time. You've delivered $50,000 in immediate, tangible value. The money is secondary to the speed of the result.
So tactically, what does this look like to justify the price?
You take your current delivery time and you cut it in half, or 2/3. If you can deliver an outcome in 3 weeks that normally takes 3 months, that difference in speed should easily allow you to add a 0 or more to the price tag.
These speed enhancements have to be tangible, guaranteed deliverables, though,
Yep,
right?
absolutely. You promise immediate priority. You will always have priority over non-premium clients. You'll be the first to see a new feature or our latest research.
Or for a service business, the ultimate speed guarantee. When there's an emergency, I'll personally pull someone off another job, even if they're working on my own project, to come to your house and solve the problem.
That guaranteed low latency is high ticket value.
And this focus on speed leads directly into reverse engineering ease, which is how you create that turnkey, frictionless experience.
Ease is achieved by systematically deleting friction points, deleting every required customer action,
So you literally need to map out the entire customer journey.
every single step. Note every click, every form they have to submit, every piece of information they have to gather, every single wait time. If you determine they currently have to take, 10,000 small frustrating actions to get the outcome.
The job of the premium service is to systematically reverse and delete those points.
It's the difference between having to fill out a complex legal form yourself or having a dedicated concierge fill out the entire form for you, only requiring your final signature.
It costs the business more money, more staff, more technology, more oversight to achieve that seamlessness.
Which is exactly why you must charge more for it. The high price is what pays for the deletion of friction.
And here is a piece of magic for any business that relies on partners, suppliers, or vendors. A massive, often overlooked advantage of charging 10 times more.
This is such a great point.
It's the capital structure it gives you to pay your vendors and partners more to prioritize your customers.
You are buying guaranteed speed upstream. You are creating your own priority ring for your clientele. You can afford to pay your key supplier 20% or even 50% more, ensuring that your client's job skips the queue and is handled with immediate urgency.
This strategy allows your high-ticket business to consistently outcompete the middle ground competition.
You don't compete on price. You compete on certainty and speed, which you secure by having demonstrably better relationships and faster service from your upstream partners, and it's all financed by your high prices.
So the TLDR, the too long didn't read, the overarching big picture takeaway is really simple, and it provides a great sense of comfort for the risk averse.
It does.
No matter what your current customer count is, simply making a 10 times more expensive offer has a percentage likelihood that is greater than 0 of being bought.
Greater than 0, that's the key.
You literally have nothing to lose by offering it.
And when that likelihood converts and someone says yes, that immediate high-margin cash flow reinforces the behavior, and you will finally understand fundamentally how powerful adding 1 or sometimes 2 zeros to your price tag really is for your capital velocity and your personal worldview. That was an essential breakdown. We started with that foundational truth of avoiding the competitive graveyard of the middle price point. We moved through the critical nature of starting one-on-one for maximum cash flow and rapid learning, and we finally dissected the undeniable high-velocity profit hidden in high-ticket anchor pricing.
And we synthesize how all the psychological elements, from accurately describing the customer's pain and dramatically increasing their perceived likelihood of achievement,
How they perfectly align with the tactical elements, like prioritizing speed over magnitude, reverse engineering ease, and creating those vendor priority rings to fundamentally define and deliver value in the premium space.
So as you go back to your business or your next project or your career, here is the final provocative thought we want to leave you with. Something to mull over that builds on everything we just discussed.
We challenged you to create a 10x offer, but let's go even further.
Let's do it.
Consider the ultimate, impossible, unscalable offer you could create right now. An offer that you would only accept if you charged 100 times your current highest rate.
Not 10 times, 100 times.
100 times. What would that perfect, personalized, utterly foolproof word-of-mouth generating service truly look like?
Strip away every single constraint. What audacity of value would you have to deliver to justify that price?
Thinking at that extreme, unconstrained level, even if you never ever sell it, it forces you to redefine the limits of what you consider valuable in your own expertise. It's a powerful mental exercise that will absolutely change how you price your $100 service tomorrow.
All right, let's see what the YouTube crowd is saying. Comment number 1, the supportive one. Finally, someone explains that everyone has an hourly rate. I stopped calling myself a freelancer and started calling myself a consultant, tripled my price, and my clients actually complain less now.
That tracks with Hormozi saying higher value clients are cooler and shift your worldview.
Comment number 2, the skeptical one. Easy to say charge $10,000 when you have a Guinness World Record. If I try this as a college student, I'm just a college student with an expensive unsold service.
He's not wrong. Reputation is the implied guarantee that makes the high price work.
And comment number 3, the unhinged one. Instructions unclear. I've been sleeping on my gym floor for 3 days and I still haven't made $16 million. Also, the janitor is asking why I'm wearing nose strips in my sleep.
So Bart, what's the final verdict? Is this good advice, situational advice, or pure hustle hype?
I'm going with situational advice. If you already have a skill, his math on cash flowing your growth by selling unscalable high-ticket offers is brilliant.
I agree. It's good advice for the competent, but it's hustle hype for the total amateur. You can't charge trillion-dollar prices if you can't actually deliver the outcome or decrease the latency. That's it for today's session at Hustle Happy Hour. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's undercharging for their time.
Check out our other videos where we deconstruct more guru gems and traps. And hey, if there's a video you want us to react to next, drop it in the comments.
Until next time, keep the hustle real and keep the drinks cold. Cheers.
Hustle happy hour.